Hello, welcome to my series on 101 things I learned on my weight loss journey. Today we're doing number 3, which is thermodynamics. Um, this might seem like a weird one, but I think it's important to establish early on because um, it's good to have a good baseline where we all start. Um, as I feel like I've said prior to this number, I think that there's a lot of either misinformation or just uneducation. I know there was for me for the longest time. And I think laying this out and treating it like step by step, just having as like a level 0 of just understanding it before you even do anything is kind of gives my mind some ease and kind of connects the dots. So thermodynamics. The reason why I am going to um, go into this will be pretty obvious as you watch. So, thermodynamics. Uh, Essentially, let's start with like the most basic thing ever, which is our bodies generate heat. Can we agree on that? I think it's pretty universal that we understand our bodies generate heat. You feel someone else's body, you feel it warmth. You don't feel it cold. You take someone's chair after they got up, it's warmer because it came from their body, because they were in it first. Um, and so then the question follows after you've come to that conclusion, okay, where's that heat coming from? So really, it just comes down to like, well, it's got to be intaking somewhere, right? And you're right, it is, because our body is running on energy. I mean, you can't just move your body and do the things that you do out of nowhere. Like, energy comes from somewhere. And that's true. And the main ways that I've deduced that we've gotten our energy is really comes down to 4 things. It comes down to food, water, sleep, and breathing. Um, and 2 of those are definitely major reactors to how you gain and lose weight, and you know, kind of helps with the heat. And 2 of those are actually um, helping with regulating that with the chemicals and all that other stuff. So, um, but not even considering that, this is just from what I understand. Um, the most obvious one that is like the intake of uh, where like heat can come from would be that like sleep is more like a mode in your body, and that's one of the ones that will like help regulate. Same thing with water. Water usually doesn't generate heat. It usually helps just pump things. Um, at least if we're talking strictly biologically speaking. So the other two, which is food and breathing, respiratory activity, are um, the major factors in terms of energy intake. Um, Not necessarily outtake. Uh, things like moving your body and stuff that will come later. But uh, I even heard like things like you lose weight by breathing out, like you breathe out the weight. I'm not entirely sure how true that is. I'm sure it is true, but regardless, like you can only do so much to regulate how much breathing activity you can do. Things like insulin levels and things like that for your sleep, those are great. You know, we'll be touching on a lot of that stuff later. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but I kind of just want to touch on all these factors um, just to kind of get on a similar baseline before we really get into the meat of things for this list. Um, but the major one, I think, that can be the most um, different depending on how you uh, go about it, and you know, you can't you can't stop breathing and survive. Like you can't even like slow down really your breathing. That's not really like a normal thing. Like everyone needs to constantly breathe. You can slow down things like um, your food intake, And so if you're understanding this, if you're understanding the like laws of thermodynamics and understanding that, like, okay, I will be eating less food and therefore I will be in a calorie deficit because that's the unit of heat. Because a lot of people are like, what is a calorie? I don't even think a lot of people know. They just use the term calories. They know it's some sort of measurement, but they don't really know what a calorie is. From what I understand, it is a unit of like heat measurement. Um, it's almost like food and a lot of like everything that you eat gets broken down into like heat energy in a way in your body, and it gets transferred out, and whatever it can't use, it expels. Um, so um, the idea is like you're supposed to deduce the heat that you intake, and your body still is trying to get the same amount of heat that it usually does. And so what it does is that since it's keeping the lights on and it realizes, hey, we got this extra stored, energy, let's derive from there. That's what fat loss is. Um, so it's kind of like taking from like an extra like alcove of energy output. So, and the opposite goes true as well. If you're eating so much, it's like, well, we already have so much energy that we've used. We don't need to use any more energy today. So let's just bank this. Let's put this off to the side, and maybe we'll need it later. That's just like your body's natural reaction to like, I don't know if it's survival instinct or what, but something I've noticed with um, taking in food and things like that. So, some things are more calorie dense and some things are, you know, less. And um, it's interesting how like sizes and everything all, you know, it comes in all shapes and sizes, but it's just good to kind of get on that similar level. I kind of just wanted to say all that. Um, I don't think that there's really anything else I really want to touch on just yet. But when I heard it said to me, saying like, "Oh, like uh, someone is working out and doing all these things and eating less, and they're still not able to lose weight," and I heard that's defying the laws of thermodynamics, and it really spoke to me because I was like, "Yeah," because there is no explanation. They're either lying, they're not like they're not telling the truth, or they're doing something else that's like playing into a factor that isn't being considered. Like there is no other explanation because something is either being lost in translation or something. People don't just magically can't uh, do the thing that happens when you do that. Like to say that would essentially be saying I want to burn this stick and not lose any of the stick after it's been burnt. But that's just not how like the world works. You need to use it so the energy can be derived from the stick and so the heat can come from it, and but therefore the stick is now burnt. Like you can't have your cake and eat it too, which is a funny expression in this situation. But um, yeah, uh, I thought that was really interesting to kind of consider. Um, and yeah, just once you understand that and you're able to like realize that and regulate and see like, okay, this is gonna like this decision to cut back will help me is great. So wanted to throw that out there. That was number 3, thermodynamics. We'll be expanding on more topics very similarly. Just wanted a baseline before we get into some more detailed topics. All right, that's it for this video. Take care.